Hey everybody, welcome back to a late night edition of Ruben Tech. Today we have another analyst clown coming on. America is just this giant circus. Have you ever heard the term about the world being a stage and we're all actors? Well, it's changed now. Since Trump has come into office, America is just a giant circus and everyone's a clown. And your attention's the most important thing, and all the clowns are tooting their horns and doing funny dances and tricks to try to get your attention. And let me tell you something right now. You now more than ever have to watch what you listen, hear, read, and make sure that it actually coincides with reality, with consensus reality. You will know what's true if you go out and research it yourself, and that includes what I have to say. I was going to make a video on this topic myself. A clown came on and he's talking about Google and he's just saying these outrageous statements, right, that do not correlate to reality. And I was going to make a video about Joseph Carlson. I will leave a link to this video. Made a great video on this. It's about Google is the next eBay, according to analysts. Let's go ahead and hear Gene Munster from Deepwater. You know, just another hedge fund guy. These used to be serious people, not anymore.
Even comparing Google to eBay.
If I was going to kind of put this all in the most basic terms, Google is becoming eBay.
Google is becoming eBay, right? Google just reported out of this world earnings, okay? But you have these guys who are coming on here and constantly bashing them. This guy in particular is a Tesla bull, okay? He actually used to be pro Google. He used to be like Scott Basin. He used to be like a serious investor, but it probably didn't work for him. He realized that only clowns make money in America nowadays, and he needs to put on the red nose and start being a clown. And so this is what he had to say about Google's stellar earning report.
Heard this dramatic shift in sentiment on his most recent CNBC appearance.
Good but not great. We didn't get any clarity on that critical question that we're all talking about. What's going to happen with search? I just want to put some quick parameters on that. A year ago, GPT, 200 million weekly users. It's probably about 600 million weeklies today. I mean, that is off the charts growth. At the same time, if we compare that to...
I mean, it is. That's true. Absolutely. They have grown like crazy, right? And I think it's around probably 500, 600 million. I don't think he's exaggerating there on that. I think that's fair assessment right there. And absolutely hats off to Sam Altman. He's done a great job on getting people to use the system.
What Google said on the call related to monetization of AI overviews, it's basically unchanged over the past few months. And so the users are going...
He's saying that's unchanged. That is absolutely crap. Okay, that is not what they said. Sundar Pichai went over this in very clear detail on the call. He stated that there is 1.5 billion users of their AI overviews and that they're seeing a click-through rate to the links and to the ads that are just at the same levels that they were before. However, they're still going about this slowly. They're not going to just go ahead and release it and be like, this is the only way forward, which of course makes sense. And when I say this to you, just think about Amazon. When it came out, everyone said retail is dead as we know it. There are going to be no more brick and mortar back in the 90s when it came out. Well, guess what? Walmart is still battling Amazon. They go back and forth as kind of the largest retailers in America. And Walmart is brick and mortar. Okay, brick and mortar suffered. It absolutely did, but it took 20 years for it to have a really large impact. And we still have major players in brick and mortar, a lot of them, okay? That's how it's going to be with AI and search. It's not happening tomorrow, Gene. I get it. That's what you're hoping for. You've got on the clown show now. It's all about promises and bending reality. But Google's here to play the long game. Okay, that's why we have uncertainty in search. They grew search by 11%. You're talking about they have an absolute dominance in search like nobody else has in anything in the world. I think they own like 90% of the market or something. You have to look that up, but I still think it's around there. Maybe it's a little less nowadays. But anyways, they have a very dominant position in search. And somehow they're still managing to grow it. They're still managing to grow revenue on it. It's absolutely nuts. So this idea that search is dead or search is dying, that's like eBay, that's crazy talk.
Going up, they're rolling it out to more countries. But in other words, we still haven't learned much about how this whole search question comes out.
The first claim he makes is that ChatGPT is around 600 million monthly active users, which that number seems correct. The last number they shared publicly was 500 million users, and ChatGPT is growing rather quick. So it seems like 600 million is a really good estimate.
I think that's fair too.
But then he goes on to say that Google has shown no progress in the amount of users engaging with their AI tools, which is simply false. And I'm not sure how Gene Munster arrived at that conclusion, but he continues on sharing this overall bearish sentiment on Google.
Besides the other competitors, GPT in particular, Grok, are getting a ton of...
Grok. Fucking Grok. I mean, give me a break. This is because he's a Tesla bull. Like, this is right away, you know, it's like, what? Grok?
Traction. Grok, top app in the iOS and Android store.
Grok, top app in iOS and Android. Let's go ahead and take a look at the top apps in the iOS store. Here's iPad. Oh, it's ChatGPT. It's not Grok. Here's iPhone. Oh, it's ChatGPT. It's not Grok. What's number 4 here? Google. What's number 2? Meta AI. Right? Look at this. 3 of the top 5 apps are from Meta. One's from Google. The top one is ChatGPT. Where's Grok? Where is Grok? Where is it? Is it even in the top 20? I'm still looking. Google Gemini. Look at this. Google Gemini, right? It's ahead of Grok. So more people on iPhones are downloading Google Gemini than they are Grok. Where's X? Is X on here even? Where's X? Where is it? I'm kind of actually surprised about this one. Here it is. So number 73, okay? Number 73, he said it was the top app. Okay, so this is where you out there, you got to be careful of these clowns and their agenda. What's going on with them? They're just making things up. Here, maybe you can't see my whole screen here. Let me go ahead. I'm going to adjust that for you real quick so you can see it. So you can't say, hey, maybe you're not telling the truth, Ruben. There you go. Look at this. iPhone, ChatGPT. Let's go through the top 10. ChatGPT, Meta AI, Threads, Google, WhatsApp, T-Life. That's interesting that would be there. A lot of T-Mobile users must be on iPhone. Microsoft Teams, Google Maps, CapCut. This, my son loves this. He makes videos for YouTube. Uses this is from TikTok. Indeed job search, TikTok, Microsoft Authenticator. Oh, I'm going through more. Okay, Gmail, Geauth, AI Study Companion. So what we have here is we have Meta dominating with 3 of the top 5 apps. We have Google in the top 5, ChatGPT. Hats off to them, number 1. Okay, but coming down here, we can still see we have Gemini, Google's Gemini, coming in ahead of Grok. I mean, I don't even see Grok on here. I see X at 73. Okay, let's go to the iPad just to see if it changes much. Top free iPad apps. Remember, he said it was Grok. His words, not mine. ChatGPT, Max, Canva, Google Chrome, Color, Amazon Prime, Microsoft Teams, Netflix, Disney, YouTube. Okay, so it's interesting here. Google has 2 of the top 10 apps. ChatGPT is still number 1. But Facebook, Meta, has a little bit less of a presence on the iPad. Kind of interesting. Google Play Store. Okay, here's the popular Play Store apps. Right? Can you see this? Snapchat, TextNow, Polybus, very different on Android. Facebook, right? Real Short. I don't see X in here. I don't see Grok in here. Okay, so I would say that Grok is not the top app anywhere, right? And yet he said that. And so they're bringing him on like he's some kind of, oh, here's the top charts. Okay, here's the top charts. Let's just take a look at this. Let's come back. So ChatGPT, hats off to him. TikTok, WhatsApp, Threads, Instagram. Well, that's interesting. So again, we have Meta with 3 of the top 5 apps. Maybe you can't see this. 3 of the top 5 apps belong to Meta. Snapchat, easy home screen. TikTok has 2 of them. That's interesting, right? Everybody would think that's interesting. Now remember, on Google, you're not going to get a lot of Google apps because they're pre-bundled. You'll get Gemini because not all Android phones come with Gemini. But you're not going to get a lot of Google apps like Gmail, and that is all pre-installed. Not on all Android, but the majority of them have it pre-installed. Gemini, 15th. So where's Grok? Where's Grok? Where's X? Once again, we have to go. It's not even. They only have it listed in the top apps. They have top 45 apps. No Grok, no apps, no X. Okay, so just be careful when you hear these guys.
Sure.
Right?
And so I think, Melissa, as I say good but not great, it's going to be really tough for long-term investors to get comfortable that this, in fact, is going to move in a different direction over the next few years. They've been at it 2 years now and still aren't seeing meaningful uptake. And if I was going to kind of put this all in the most basic terms, Google is becoming eBay, effectively. Its energy is getting zapped out. Before eBay, it was Amazon kind of taking its energy out. Now it's GP.
So just think, he's coming on national TV, right? On CNBC, and he's scaring people. If you don't know anything and you just listen to these clowns, you're going to be worried, right? This is what they do. This is what they've been doing for years. And then they go ahead and they hire an army of clowns to go on and promote their stocks, Tesla and stuff. Okay, and you know what he had to say? I'm not going to play it because it's just so disgusting. But here's what he had to say for Tesla's earnings. Before Tesla's earnings, right? He said basically these are his points. The March quarter in 2025 largely don't matter. He basically wrote off the whole year. He just said whatever happens, we're not expecting good things. So just don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Okay. Tesla told us 3 months ago that 2025 is going to be ugly, which is funny because 3 months before that, 6 months ago, they told us that 2025 was going to be huge, right? We remember that when they said that? And then now, but 3 months ago, once they realized, oh, that's not going to happen, right? Once they started seeing, oh, wait, it's not going to be so big, they revised. These guys keep lowering the bar. But so here he is. He's like, oh, Google starts just making up false narratives. Well, they don't really have many users using it. 1.5 billion users using AI overviews. Grok's the top app. Grok's not top app. It's not even top 50. Okay, right? I don't know what they're going to do. People are so worried about this. It might be the next eBay. They're literally the most profitable company in the world. In fact, last year for Google was the most profitable year that any company has ever had on earth outside of state-owned companies like Saudi Aramco and Rosneft, which even they might not have had the year that Google had last year, that Alphabet had, okay? So they posted over, I'll bring this up for you. This is 2024, year ended December 31st, 2024. Their net income, this is what you make in pure profit. This is after you pay all your employees, you pay all your expenses, you pay your taxes, okay? $100 billion. This beat Apple. Apple in 2022, I think, had almost 100 billion. It had like 99. So Google passed Apple for the most profitable year ever by a U.S. tech company, okay? So $100 billion. They're just printing money. Right? And understand, this was a 33% growth over the prior year. 2023 was roughly 74 billion. And he's saying that's eBay, trying to say that they're dying. They're growing 33%. Yet Tesla, he's telling you that Tesla's where you want to put your money. And Tesla is literally dying. They are literally on a negative down slant for growth. They don't have any growth. They're contracting. They lost 71% on net operating income. Down 71%. Okay? I mean, this is bizarro world, right? When it came to Tesla's deliveries, he was like, don't worry about it. Elon said, it's all about the physical AI. He keeps pushing that because he can't say So you see, because these guys, they're not stupid. They know what they're saying is BS. And it's hard for them to be clowns. They're not good clowns, okay? And it's why when they say this stuff is so ridiculous. They're not like Stephen Miller, who was born a clown, who's just a great natural clown and can just lie to anybody at any time. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't bother him one bit. Okay, these guys have brains, so they know when they're saying this stuff is absolutely ridiculous. So he's using physical world AI. Just be a clown and just say AI. Just say Tesla's going to lead in AI, period. Why does he say physical world AI? Because he knows they're not leading in regular AI. And so he's got to make it about the robotics. He's got to make it about Optimus. It's always the next promise. It's always the next promise. It's never now. It's the next thing coming. But only for the companies we want. Not for Alphabet. Not that Alphabet doesn't happen to lead in autonomous driving with Waymo. Not that Alphabet doesn't happen to lead in AI. They arguably have the best generative LLM out there right now in Gemini. It's either them or ChatGPT. They have the best performant AI chips, their TPUs, Ironwood. Okay? They have all kinds of other AIs. They don't just use generative AIs. They have DeepMind, which has long been known as being the most cutting edge company in the AI space, right? But let's discount them, right? It's all about what Elon promises he's going to do and doesn't ever show us what he's going to do, right? Let's just take a look at Google's recent quarter, okay? Let me see if I bring this on for you. Oh, sorry. You might not have seen that other quarter. Here's the $100 billion I was talking about, 2024, in case you didn't notice that. $100 billion, just nuts. Okay, let's go ahead and make this a little bigger for you. I'll move this over for you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump to this quarter. Alphabet made $90 billion this quarter in revenue. That's up 12% year over year. So they're dying, but yet they're growing double digits. Well, other people don't want to mention names. You have to make excuses like just throw this year out because they are literally dying. Okay. Operating income, $30 billion, up 20%. Operating margin was increased to 34%. Absolutely phenomenal, right? Net income of $34 billion on the quarter. Now this, I'm going to tell you because I don't want to be seen as a clown. This number is not accurate in the sense that you can't expect this to be a recurring net income. They had a one-time they had to write off a one-time. You usually think of a write-off. I shouldn't use write-off. What's the term I want to say? They had to record a one-time event where they took a large profit on a position they had in SpaceX. Okay, it's not a write-off because it's usually a write-off you think of as being negative, but they had to record an event for profit. Okay, so typically when you look at this other income, Google does invest in a lot of companies. So if you come down here, they will usually have 2 to 3 billion a quarter in investment income, which isn't uncommon for a Google or a Microsoft or somebody this size. But they're not like Warren Buffett, right? But they do investment. Well, this is not expected. So they even wrote about this, I think, somewhere where they talk about the 8 billion right here. OI&E of $11.2 billion for 3 months ended March 31st, 2025, included an $8 billion unrealized gain on our non-marketable equity securities related to our investment in private company. So it's rumored to be SpaceX. But one thing I would say is you wouldn't expect this. This isn't going to be common. So let's just say net income was actually probably around $26.5 to $27 billion, which still is an increase of roughly 10%, which is where you'd want it. I just wanted to point that out because this is abnormal. Okay. So anyways, come on down here. We can see search. Everyone's saying search is dead. And it doesn't look like it's dead. They increased it 10%. YouTube ads increased nicely, pulling in almost, just think about it. They're going to be pulling in 10 billion a quarter from YouTube pretty soon. YouTube ads. They already do pull more than 10 billion a quarter if you include subscriptions. But they're going to be pulling 10 billion a quarter just from YouTube ads. Okay. Sundar announced that YouTube is now watched on home screen TVs, large TVs, more than any other platform, more than phone, more than tablet. They are, cable, talk about dying. Cable is dying, and YouTube is going to eat up all of that. Okay. The Google network, this is their network where they have high traffic acquisition costs. This is like when you have websites that show their ads. This is actually on the downside, and it's been for a little bit. You can see that this is down. However, this has extremely high traffic acquisition costs, so it's not too big of a deal because it isn't the most profitable, and it never has been the most profitable part of their business. Subscription platform to devices. This is your YouTube Premium, your YouTube TV. This is your Google One. This is your Google Pixel devices, doing extremely well. Look at this now, over $10 billion a quarter. Google they're diversifying like crazy. And the growth here, 1.6 billion, very nice, right? Google Cloud, this is just pure gravy. On this channel, I talk about how all the time these companies, Alibaba, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, they get to eat their own dog food. They run their own systems on their own internal systems on these public-facing clouds. And so all the CapEx that they put into these clouds, right? It's not like Facebook. Like, I'm not saying what Mark Zuckerberg's doing wrong, but when Mark Zuckerberg talks about that CapEx, he has to get it back in different ways. Not Google, not AWS, because what they do is they just turn around and they rent out that machinery to other people to use, okay? Because their demand, of course, is variable, right? It goes up and down. So cloud is pure gravy for them, right? And you see growth there, excuse me, of about 28%. So if you look at this, total traffic acquisition cost, this would be an expense, slightly up over the year. But if you look at this, absolutely, right? Just a fortress is what they have. Total assets, $475 billion. They have $95 billion in cash and equities. Now, Alphabet and Apple used to sit on around 150 to 200 billion, but Wall Street got mad at them and said that you need to start doing something with that. And they haven't. They both have been buying back shares like crazy. Google just recently announced it's going to spend 80 billion of this and buy some more shares back. But it's not a big deal because they make about 17 to 20 billion a quarter in free cash flow. So they announced they're going to do that over like the next, I think it was 2 years. Don't quote me on that. So they're still going to have to look for ways to spend all this money. They got so much money, they don't know what to do with it. But if you look at this, unbelievable, $475 billion in assets, $500 billion. Liabilities, only 130. So let's take this. Let's just take the assets that they have, minus their liabilities, 345. And then what are they trading at? Like 1.75 trillion market cap? You're talking about 1.4 trillion, right? For this company. It's absolutely insane. Company that's outperforming Apple, outperforming Microsoft, outperforming NVIDIA, right? Just nuts. Just crazy. Okay, so that's what I got for Alphabet on you. And just so you know, I am long in Alphabet. And anything I say is not investment advice. Okay, because like I said earlier, you need to do your own research. But what I'm sick of is seeing these people who are just literally coming out and they're clowns and they're just trying to get your attention. And they're trying to get your attention for a reason. It's to benefit them. Okay, I'm not telling you to go out and buy shares in Google. I'm just telling you, when you hear stuff like this, be sure you question it. Go and look at these reports yourself. See if it aligns with reality. Okay? That's all I'm telling you. The MUGA philosophy. I started a group called MUGA. Make us great again. My goal on here is to hopefully give you useful information and explain things in a way that you can understand. And I hope that by me benefiting you, if you can find any benefit from that, that maybe that you can help me back by explaining things to me in the comments or whatever. I've had a lot of good conversations in our comments. I've had a lot of interactions with trolls too, which I have a hard time resisting. But I've had a lot of great conversation. I've learned a lot of great things, and I really appreciate that. If you like this kind of content, please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button down below. All you out there, have a great day. I truly wish you the best. Have a nice day.